Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of class. I am excited to read your theory application papers. Give me until Friday this week to get those big papers and the assignments from week 4 done. If you have any questions in the meantime about grades up to this point, please do not hesitate to send me an email and ask anything that you need to ask. Okay, this week, art is a message. So in our reading, we're in the visual culture text, chapter 11 on new media, and I've given you a whole list of things to think about. It's going to talk about whether or not new media is basically a new method of delivering the same information, whether or not there's a revolution or evolution of media. I'd like you to consider how you think about that. I'm just going to use Heartbreak Hotel as an example that whether you are listening to Heartbreak Hotel on a record player, whether you're hearing it live or listening to it in an MP3, Heartbreak Hotel is still Heartbreak Hotel. It's the same song, but can this conversation go further? How is new music perhaps affected by the mode of delivery? It's an interesting one. I don't necessarily agree with everything they say in this chapter, so I want you to really consider where you stand here. It's going to talk about photography here, and then technological approaches to understanding and studying these types of new media. So go through this and really dive into that chapter. It's an interesting one, and new media is such a relevant topic, of course, today. So we have a discussion board on new media this week, and I've given you a couple film clips, one on artist Ai Weiwei, another on artist Hannah Hawk. Ai Weiwei is a contemporary Chinese artist, and he's been quite controversial. He's been imprisoned in China, and this is his TED Talk, which I think he gives from prison, if I remember. It's quite interesting, his story, and there's a great documentary on Ai Weiwei on Netflix as well if you watch this and then want to gain more information on him. Hannah Hawk is quite opposite. Hannah Hawk is an artist that worked in the early 20th century, and she was using new media in her day in a very different way. She was talking about social commentary, especially about how women are represented in the world. But while Weiwei is using, social media, Hannah Hawk was using the social media of her day, which of course was newspaper and magazines. And she's one of the original collage or photo montage artists, and so she was really a pioneer of her style. So I'd like you to answer the following questions. 1, consider how new media is different methods of delivering the same information. Why do you think this is? Consider how people have different learning styles and how that might possibly be a factor in how we understand the world. What new media do you personally find most effective? Number 2, make sure you view this clip on Hannah Hawk. And what are your thoughts on her style? Is it a style that is still effective today? Consider whether or not, if you took her style and used contemporary subject matter. Often students will kind of misunderstand this and think, well, I don't understand what she was really talking about. It's not relevant to today. And I don't necessarily mean the content of her work, but the style of her work and her approach to using new media. Number 3, what are your thoughts on Weiwei's incarceration? Do you agree with what he said in his TED Talk? And then find out from one of your peers or comment on something they've said. You might ask, how is art sometimes a more powerful method than words to deliver a message? You may disagree with something they've had to say. So engage with each other here, get some good debates going. And again, remember that you are graded on participation here as well as your original post. Okay, we have another create assignment this week. We are doing Hannah Hawk inspired collages. So this assignment is designed to give students a hands-on approach to learning research skills as well as exploring creative ways to present culturally valuable information. So notice there's something about research skills here, and then there's something about culturally valuable information. Don't forget this first part, students often do. So view the short clip on Hannah Hawk that is here in the discussion board. So that's kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And then I want you to do your own research on her unique collage style. And I've given you just a Google search on Hannah Hawk and the images of her that she created just to get you started. But I want you to do some research, not just on her life and who she is, but on her style and how she worked. Because then you're going to create your own collage using cutouts from newspapers and magazines. Be sure to use the elements found in Hawk's work. So this is where that research comes in. I want you to really look And okay, what are things that she's often doing? I'll give you some hints. She often uses text. She often takes images and kind of chops them up and puts them together in a brand new way to create kind of this harmonious image where before these kind of dissonant images would never really go together. And what you need to do with this collage, so it needs to fit on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and it should take up the majority of the page. And like Hawk, each collage should be making a statement about a contemporary social, cultural, or political issue. You've got a lot to choose from in today's culture, don't you? So you might choose something that's like bullying, consumerism, world hunger, the environment, what's going on in the world as far as security and foreign policy. I mean, there's just an endless amount of possibilities. Anything that you feel is an important, relevant cultural topic is something that you can explore here. And we're doing that because Hawk always used her art as a way of exploring social context. So this is done as a blog. You're going to embed your collage image into your entry by scanning or photographing it. And you're going to also include a 1-page 12-point font double-spaced write-up. So just like in your journals, when I say I want the equivalent of a page double-spaced, that's what I'm talking about here. But you can just do that right in your entry. And I want you to explore the topic your collage illustrates. So consider why the issue is relevant in contemporary culture and how your collage illustrates this. Also, don't forget this part, and students often do. Consider how an image is a powerful means of sending a message to a broad audience. And I've given an example of an A quality collage from a former student. So you can see how the student has taken all of these kind of dissonant, disconnected images and put them together to tell a really cohesive story. The student has used text, as Hawk does as well. And you can see that it takes up the entire page. There's not a lot of blank space going on. There's not 2 or 3 images kind of stuck next to each other. There's not just little squared cutout images all lined up in a row. This is an artwork. This is a collage. So you're taking these images and you're assembling them to create a brand new composition. I also want you to begin work on your film review this week, and then you have your quiz. So quiz is due, collage is due, and discussion board is due. If you go to the week 6 learning activities, you can find information on the film review. And let's actually just jump over there really quickly. I'm not going to go through that assignment in detail, but I did want to make sure you are aware of what we've got going on there. And you have 3 choices of films. What I would suggest is that this week, during week 5, you pick a film to watch and you take notes. And I've given different prompts for each film, so you only need to pick one. This is going to be a 6 to 8 page paper. And you can select either The Passion of the Christ, which I believe is still available on Netflix. There's a great documentary on Netflix called The True Cost. And then there is an excellent animated film called The Little Prince. So pick one of these. This is a great one if you have kids and you want to have a family movie night and get some work done at the same time. Excellent, excellent film. So make sure you read through the prompt before you watch that film. So that's what I would suggest this week. Pick your film, watch it, and take notes. And that way next week you are ready to write. So that's what we got going on this week. Again, look for your week 4 work to be done by Friday. And let me know if you have any questions thus far. And congratulations on making it halfway through the class. And have a great week.